Welcome back, guys and gals. Greg Silberman here, Chief Investment Officer, Chief Financial Officer. This is our Come Learn With Me format. We are constantly curating different finance and investment articles. So this is the most popular from last week. And of specific note to us is the underlying uranium theme, which is something we're still very bullish on. So join us for this Come Learn With Me. Germany's gas crisis generates nuclear dilemma for ruling Greens. Berlin. German conservative politicians have revived debate on extending the life of the country's 3 remaining nuclear power plants, and polls show a rise in public support for the energy source in the face of a possible cutoff of Russian gas. But an extension is highly sensitive for Germany's ruling Greens party, which grew out of the 1970s anti-nuclear movement. Germany's 3 remaining nuclear power plants are scheduled to be shut down by the end of the year after former Chancellor Angela Merkel pledged to halt the use of nuclear electricity after the Fukushima nuclear disaster of 2011. The plants accounted for 6% of Germany's electricity production in the first quarter of 2022. Debate over keeping the plants running began after Russia's invasion of Ukraine started on February 24th and prompted Germany to decide to end its heavy reliance on Russian fossil fuel. Experts from Germany's Environment and Economy Ministries said in March they did not recommend extending the plant's lifetime, citing legal, licensing, and insurance challenges, the need for extensive and possibly costly safety checks, and a lack of fuel rods to keep the plants running. A lack of fuel rods. Well, an extension would not help the country's electricity output in the coming winter, they found, and the necessary investment and effort would only be justified if the plant operations were extended for at least 5 more years until 2028. But falling Russian gas supplies to Germany through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, which prompted the government to reconnect on-reserve coal power plants to the grid, and possibility of an extended outage of the pipelines following routine maintenance that is meant to be completed by July 21st. That's this coming up week. Have emboldened pro-nuclear voices in Germany and Europe. The European Union will next publish recommendations on how countries can cut gas demand to prepare for winter. A draft of the recommendation seen by Reuters said one option would be to postpone the shutdown of nuclear power plants or switch from gas generation to nuclear where possible. Now, how the world shifts. Last month, a poll by RTL and NTV broadcasters shows some 68% of Germans were in favor of reconsidering the country's nuclear exit. Before the start of the war in Ukraine, a ZDF poll had found only 40% of Germans supported extending the lifetime of nuclear power plants. But Germany's Environment and Economy Ministries, both run by the Greens, I just felt like I was repeating the same thing, both run by the Greens this week, said their assessment from March was still valid and they had not reconsidered their position in light of concerns over gas supply security. Anti-nuclear power party. Politicians of the conservative CDU or CS/CSU opposition blame the Greens for the government's resistance to changing its position on the issue, saying it was purely ideological, citing the Greens' roots in the 1970s anti-nuclear movement. Greens prefer to rely on climate-damaging coal-fired power plants. Inside their anti-nuclear power party, CDU General Secretary Mario Schaja said. Schaja said the government could obtain fuel rods from Australia and Canada to keep the plants running, adding he expected Economy Minister Robert Habeck to move away from ideology. Responding to the government's nuclear safety concerns, TUEV, a major provider of industrial testing and certification, said it was possible to continue operating 3 remaining nuclear power plants from a safety point of view. It was possible. Said it was possible. The plants are in a technically excellent condition, well, maintained by the Germans. Joachim Bühler, managing director at TUEV, told Reuters, adding that an extensive check, which is usually done every 10 years, was necessary but could be done within a few months. Calls for the remaining all-energy options, including nuclear, are also rising within the ruling coalition of the Social Democrats, Greens, and the Free Democrats, FDP Liberals. Michael Cruz, of FDP Parliamentary Group's Energy Policy Spokesman, said reduced supplies of gas for heating in winter could make consumers use more electric heating, in turn creating power shortages. This topic is very sensitive for some parties, but the Russian aggression against Ukraine must convince all politicians to consider this issue without ideology in a new way, Cruz told Reuters. The Greens still see nuclear power as a risky technology. The party's deputy parliamentary group leader, Julia Verlinden, said, citing the Chernobyl and Fukushima nuclear disasters, nuclear power is expensive, inflexible, and causes radioactive waste for which there is still no repository, Verlinden told Reuters. How about putting it on rockets and firing outer space? Just a thought, just a little wee thought. Timon Gremels, energy policy coordinator for the SPD, does not expect the government to change its position on the issue if the Nord Stream 1 pipeline starts up after maintenance, but said nothing could be ruled out in the current situation. Given the Greens' history, crossing the nuclear red line will be difficult, Gremels told Reuters. Beck is demanding a lot from his party with fracking gas, a longer term for coal. If he now also brings back nuclear power, the patience of large parts of the Greens will run out. Thank you, guys. Thank you for voting up this article. Great, really interesting. A lot to take in, right? Yeah, if you want to see some more of the topics that we track, take a look down below. There's a whole list of LinkedIn mini groups. If you want to see the kind of work that we do, take a look at our CPA practice, Ritterband CPAs. And if you want to see the work that we can do for you on investor relations, take a look at ritterbandinvest.com. So thanks for joining me. Subscribe and like. Greg Silverman out for now.